In this video, I'm going to teach you how I went from looking like this to looking like this in 4 to 5 months. Hey friends, this is Jeremy G, also known as Vivo Jeremy, and April of this year, I decided I want to get fitter than I ever have been before in my life. Specifically, I set a personal goal to get to 10% body fat just because it seemed like an almost unattainable number that would be a good challenge to go for. Like several others, as a kid, I always wanted to have a really defined six-pack, and it's something that I wanted to say I was able to accomplish at least once in my life. After doing lots of my own research, putting together an action plan, and executing on it, 1 week before the end of August, I decided to go into a sports medicine institute to get a bod pod scan, just to see how close or how far I was to reaching my goal. When I got the results back, it turns out that I not only hit my goal of 10% body fat, but I surpassed it and ended up at 9%. Since losing lots of excess body fat while building strength and muscle at the same time, I could definitely say that I've been feeling the differences physically and mentally in my day-to-day. I've been able to enjoy the process throughout, and I've been greatly enjoying now eating and maintenance now that I have a pretty proven understanding of how it all works. So I'm going to do my very best to explain everything I figured out to you in an easy to understand manner while still making sure that you have tangible next actions and advice that you can apply to your personal fitness goals, instead of this being another YouTube video that just regurgitates a bunch of information online and leaves you kind of lost and not really knowing what to do next. All I ask in return is that you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe and check out my other platforms if you enjoy my content, and check out the links below to things that have greatly helped me and I think will greatly help you on your fitness journey that I may earn a small commission from at no additional cost to you. We're going to start off by doing a bit of expectation setting, or getting into the right mindset, if you will. Essentially, we're going to be going over a few things that in my personal experience are absolutely essential if you are serious about losing weight, shedding body fat, gaining muscle, or getting shredded, and very well might be the missing piece if you feel like you've been putting in work for a while but have sort of plateaued on your fitness journey. After that, we're going to be going over the 2 physical components that are essential to inducing any kind of body change, which are, of course, diet and exercise. Jumping into expectation setting, the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that losing weight, losing body fat, and more importantly, keeping it off after you've successfully done so, requires real lifestyle change. If you go into it with a state of mind thinking that you want to temporarily put in an extreme amount of effort to get there fast and then go back to your current state of living, then worst case scenario, you're going to fall victim to a lot of different fad diets, fad workouts, weight loss supplement pills, and never reach it. Or best case scenario, you're going to reach your goal, but as soon as you go back to your old lifestyle, you're going to gain all the weight back and it'll almost be as if the effort is for nothing. So temporary efforts is going to result in temporary results, but if you make a real meaningful lifestyle change, you're going to have real lasting results. Which leads me into my second thing to keep in mind, which at a very high level is do things that make you happy. What's really going to get you to lose fat and gain muscle is consistent execution over a sustained period of time. And it's much easier to consistently execute on something when you genuinely enjoy doing it and have a lot of fun with it. And that way you're going to have a much more enjoyable time with the process overall. There are thousands of different exercises and thousands of different diets out there. And in reality, as long as they meet certain higher level requirements that I'm going to go over a bit later, all of them can work. Which is also why when you think about it, you can find examples of athletes in almost every category that have low body fat percentages and are in incredible shape. In practice, that also means that you have a huge variety of options to choose from for how you want to go about losing your body fat. And again, the most important thing is just to pick ones that you're able to execute on consistently and ones that you enjoy personally. However, in order for you to lose body fat and reach your fitness goals while doing exercise that you love and eating food that you enjoy, you are going to have to quantify everything. You may have heard the term before, calories in and calories out. And the reality of it is losing fat and gaining muscle really does just come down to a numbers game. But don't worry, counting calories is not as hard as it sounds. I promise. I was intimidated too at first when I first heard about it, and I was something that I avoided for the longest time, but I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. The final thing that I want you to keep in mind, which is also the key to success for a lot of other things in life, is to stay consistent and not look for shortcuts. If you're following everything else that I went over so far, then you should be picking exercises and diets that you enjoy anyway, so it should be really easy for you to stay consistent because you are having fun with the process. The reason why I'm really wary of fad diets and fad exercises is because the majority of the time they are not sustainable, and they involve doing things like extreme calorie restriction, extreme carb cutting, or just doing insanely intense workouts like backflip burpees. That is not something that you're going to be able to do over and over again in the gym, or something that you're going to want to push yourself to do. By picking exercises and foods in your diet that you genuinely enjoy, not only are you going to lower the mental barrier for you to continue executing on your plan consistently, but you're also going to have a much more satisfying time achieving your fitness goals. Of course, everything does serve a purpose, and there may be specific situations in which you need to stick to a really strict plan in order to rapidly drop body fat. Perhaps if you're a bodybuilder preparing for a competition and you need to get to 3% body fat, or you're an actor or model preparing for a shoot or a specific role. But those diets are not intended to be sustained over a long period of time. I don't think they should be recommended for the general population, and I think that if you're not in those specific roles and you ask someone who has had to do that kind of dieting before, they will attest firsthand that it is not a fun time. The process I went through the past few months of losing fat and building muscle at the same time is what's known as a body recomposition, or body recomp. Even though the goal was more focused on fat loss instead of weight loss, between these two pictures I ended up losing about 10.3 pounds total, because of the constant replacement of fat I was losing with muscle that I was building. I share that with you so that you can hopefully use it as an objective reference to figure out whether or not you're progressing towards your goals, if this is also your goal. And you can know that realistically, when you perform a body recomp, you will still be losing quite a significant amount of weight. Also, so that you can check in with yourself and know that if your goal is to perform a body recomp like I did, but you've been stuck at the same weight for quite a while, that most likely is a sign that you may have plateaued and you do need to adjust some things in order to continue making progress towards your goal. In order to successfully perform a body recomp, it comes down to having a good combination of both diet and exercise. I know some people will say that diet is more important, abs are made in the kitchen, and things like that. But I want you to think of them both as equally important, especially if you are serious about succeeding and having this hopefully be the last fitness YouTube video that you have to watch. What I've seen tends to happen, and also personally experienced, when people over prioritize one of these two categories, is they tend to severely cut corners with the other without even realizing it, and just never reach their fitness goals, because most likely they're also just not quantifying both these categories. And they justify it with thoughts like, oh, since I'm generally eating healthy, I'm just gonna do 10 minutes on the exercise bike and I'm going to reach my goal eventually. Or in my case, oh, since I'm exercising so much and so frequently, I don't have to watch what I eat at all, and I'm still gonna end up losing fat, losing weight, and getting shredded, which in practice just isn't really how this works. In order for you to successfully lose body fat and lose weight, you need to be at what's called a caloric deficit, meaning you are burning more calories than you're consuming on a daily basis for a sustained period of time. The exact number of calories you need to consume does vary per person, and there's a lot of calculators you can find online for free in order to figure that out. The reason why you need to make sure that you're getting a good amount of exercise in while also tracking the calories you're consuming is because the more that you exercise, the more calories you're burning every day, and therefore the more calories you can consume while still reaching your fitness goals. Objectively, if there's no exercise component at all and you were to just go strictly off a diet, you would most likely have to eat at a very, very low caloric intake in order for you to lose weight, and you're most likely going to be malnourished, feel hungry all the time, and just overall going to be losing weight in a very unhealthy and unsustainable fashion. It is good to have fat loss and weight loss as a goal, but of course you want to make sure that we're doing it in a healthy way that supports our body and also is enjoyable in the process. While you're tracking the calories you're consuming, you should also be paying attention to the amount of macronutrients that you're getting into your system, or macros. The most important one to pay attention to if you're performing a body recomp and want to make sure that you are able to build muscle while losing fat at the same time is protein. The easiest way to think about it is that you should be consuming 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body fat every day. According to science, you actually need even less than that to stimulate muscle growth when you exercise, but a 1-to-1 ratio is the simplest way to think about it and will get you towards your goal as long as you are staying at a caloric deficit at the same time. Personally, even though I was making sure to eat a good variety of vegetables and foods in my diet, the only two things I paid attention to get shredded, lose body fat, and build muscle were protein and the total amount of calories consumed as a whole. There were certain meals in which I would leave out things like bread and rice and pasta that are known to be heavy in carbohydrates, but it was much more about staying within a certain daily caloric total and less about restricting carbs in general. Also, what I would do is I would leave out those foods to allow me to enjoy other foods while staying within that caloric total, such as chocolate and candy and ice cream, or proteins that were generally higher in calories like steak and chicken wings. In order for you to accurately track the calories you're consuming and your macros that you're getting, it is absolutely essential that you get good at learning how to accurately gauge serving sizes and get a food scale. There should be nutrition labels available at the back of most, if not all, foods that you purchase, but it's important to pay attention to the serving size that it was written for and recognize that 1 unit of whatever it is that you're consuming very well may not be 1 serving size, which is why it's absolutely mandatory for you to own a food scale, especially when it comes to weighing and gauging how much protein you're consuming every day. I'll admit that when I first started my fitness journey, since I had never done this before, I legitimately thought that the nutrition label at the back of a Costco boneless, skinless chicken breast pack, which is written for 4 ounces, was written for 1 whole chicken breast. So there were some times where I was trying to force myself to eat 2 whole chicken breasts every meal and was wondering why I wasn't getting anywhere. It turns out that the average size chicken breast, at least from Costco, is about 10 to 11 ounces, which is almost 2 to 3 servings what that nutrition label was written for, and I was eating way too much. Once I started using the food scale and was able to more accurately gauge how much protein I was consuming, I was able to generate visible results much more efficiently and much more accurately. The easiest and not so secret way to track all of this is using MyFitnessPal. They have a huge database of the nutrition facts of pretty much every food that you can think of, and all you have to do is log the food that you're eating, and MyFitnessPal will count the calories and your macros for you, so that all you have to do is input the food into their app and then you can check out the daily totals. When I first started out, I was putting a bunch of spreadsheets together by myself and basically building out my own database of nutrition facts, and using MyFitnessPal really just saves you so much time and so much effort using their pre-built stuff. There's even a way to set it up to where it will track the amount of calories that you're burning and put it directly into the app, but I'll create another video with more details on how to set up MyFitnessPal a bit later on. Moving on to exercise, every physical activity that you can do can be very broadly categorized into strength training and cardio. And within cardio, it can be further subdivided into HIIT, which is high intensity interval training, and LIST, which is low intensity steady state. Which type of physical exercise should you do in order to most efficiently lose fat, build muscle at the same time, and perform a body recomp? The answer, of course, is all of them. If you don't have any form of strength training and purely do cardio, then you will lose body fat but may not have very defined musculature. And if you do purely strength training and skip cardio, like a lot of my friends that lift like to do, then you may build a lot of strength and muscle, but you're not going to have visible abs or visible musculature because it's going to be covered by the layers of your body fat. Strength training is also called resistance training because the key principle is that you need to get your body to fight against some kind of external force that is going to engage your muscles and increase what's called their time under tension to induce micro tears in your muscle fibers that will then be rebuilt bigger and stronger as you rest and recover. Your body doesn't really differentiate between what that external force is as long as it is fighting against something, which is why strength training can take the form of lifting weights, using machines, or even just using your own body weight as with calisthenics. I'm personally a huge fan of calisthenics for the reasons that I go over in my calisthenics home gym setup video, but in reality, any of them can work as long as you're consistent with it, which is why the most important thing is to pick a form of strength training that you personally like and you personally find fun. In terms of cardio, the most effective way to do it for fat loss is to start with a form of high intensity interval training and then immediately follow it up with a form of low intensity steady state training. The HIIT training will help you burn initial calories from stored carbohydrates and elevate your heart rate, and the LIST training will help you burn calories directly from your body fat, with the elevated heart rate from the HIIT training helping you burn even more. For HIIT training, I do 10 minutes of martial arts drills against my Wave Master, or 15 minutes mixing jump roping with burpees depending on the day. And then for LIST training, I follow it up immediately with 1 hour total on my Life Fitness treadmill. Sometimes splitting that into 2 30-minute segments depending on what I have going on in the day, but ensuring that I walk for about a total of 4 miles every day. Even though you can pick any forms of cardio that fall within these 2 broad categories, at least for LIST training, I would highly recommend treadmill walking because it's something that's proven, it's easy to do, and it's something that you can keep doing even on days that you feel sore or fingers crossed, maybe even get injured. Also, with walking on a treadmill, you're essentially trained to do an exercise that you already do on a day-to-day basis, except you're doing so in a controlled environment where you don't have to worry about things like bypassers or cars or strangers, etc. if you were to walk outdoors on a regular basis. You also have the added benefit of having your hands free compared to if you were to use a stationary bike, Peloton, elliptical, or something of that nature, feature, which can allow you to turn your treadmill walks into a very productive exercise in multiple ways. Though it may not be optimal from a form and exercise perspective, you can also watch TV or use your phone while you're on the treadmill, and should be able to do so with a pretty high degree of focus, since walking is something you're already used to. Because of that, treadmill walking can be a very efficient exercise in terms of getting things done in your day-to-day, and you don't necessarily need to take time away from other things in order to continue being productive. As a shining example, I will most likely be editing majority of this video as I'm walking on the treadmill. High quality treadmills do tend to be a bit expensive, but they are still cheaper and allow you to be more productive than getting a Peloton plus all the subscription fees. And you do want to make sure that you invest or have access to one that's of high quality and isn't going to randomly break down on you. So I will be leaving a link to the one that I personally use on a day-to-day basis in the description down below. To summarize, if you want to get shredded, lose body fat, and build muscle at the same time, it requires inducing a real lifestyle change. There are thousands of different exercises out there that can all work you towards your fitness goals, so make sure that you pick ones that you genuinely enjoy and make you happy, that fall within the broad categories that I mentioned. When you do that, and you do things that you naturally find fun, you're naturally going to be consistent with it, you're going to enjoy the process, and you're going to be burning enough calories every day to be at a caloric deficit, as long as you are quantifying everything and able to track how many calories you're consuming and how much protein you're consuming to sustain your muscle growth. Focus on picking exercises and foods that you genuinely enjoy that fall within the paradigms I mentioned throughout this video, so that you'll naturally develop healthy habits and reach your fitness goals in a very enjoyable manner. Avoid attempting any unsustainable short-term solutions, and don't buy into things that promise you instant results or quick rapid weight loss with some magic formula, because most likely they do not exist and they're just going to distract you from your goals while also putting money into somebody else's pocket. That's pretty much all I had for now. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought. I'm always open to hearing any feedback from y'all, and definitely let me know what else you might like to see next or things that I can improve on. Follow my Instagram and check out my other platforms as well at BBoyJeremy, because I always love to hear from y'all. Also, feel free to pick up one of these shirts if you'd like to support me. It's my Asian American clothing line called Constant Effort Co. that I'll also link in this video. That's it for now, so until next time, peace.